Are we going to see the numbers in tech earnings to back up the valuations?
Well, it's interesting, when you look at the valuations, at least when you look at it from a historical context, only 4% in history, dating back to 1871, have valuations on average exceeded 25 times earnings. We're actually in one of those times where 60% of the components within the S&P are trading at over 25 times. You look at tech more specifically, we're not in absolutely nosebleed territory at the moment. However, I think that what you're going to see is that valuations are approaching peak multiples because of the fact that there's really not new levers to be able to extract value from, aside from, say, Apple and Amazon, when you look at the broader big tech category.
I have to ask what I always ask when we start talking about tech, and that is, are we talking about hardware or software here, or are we talking about semiconductors? Each may have its own kind of outlook going forward.
Sure. I mean, I'm talking about primarily the tech companies that control the S&P. Within the top 10, you have the $1 trillion club, the big tech, and then the other consumer internet. The high growth companies underlying tech.
All right. If we're talking about companies like Apple, big China supply chain, how much of an impact could we see from the coronavirus, and is that something that starts to get priced into the stock?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about kind of these cyclical effects. It's more about what industries continue to be secularly advantaged, and Apple continues to be in a very favorable category because you have two massive tailwinds behind them to help leverage their existing infrastructure and their existing locked-in base. You have the 5G rollout, which we saw what happened with 4G, and I think 5G is going to be even more impactful. And then you add on AI on top of that. There's not too many other companies that have those type of advantages, aside from, say, Amazon. So I think that, looking at the coronavirus, it's going to be a cyclical challenge, just like we saw last year with China with their numbers. So I'm not too worried about it. Last year we had said that Apple's going back to $1 trillion and won't look back. I think we can double down on that today.